Hey everyone, I'm Jason, and this is your commentary on Genesis chapter 11. Now in chapter 10 we discussed the three sons of Noah, Japheth, Ham, and Shem, and their descendants, and said that their descendants were made of many tribes and nations, and they had many languages. We're going to recap in Genesis chapter 11, and it's going to show how that split occurred. Now the whole world had only one language. All people spoke it. They moved to the east and found a broad valley in Babylonia. There they settled down. They said to each other, "Come, let's make bricks and bake them well." They used bricks instead of stones. They used tar to hold the bricks together. Then they said, "Come, let's build a city for ourselves. Let's build a tower that reaches to the sky. We'll make a name for ourselves. Then we won't be scattered over the face of the whole earth." Their doing this was a form of rebellion against God, who told them to go out into the earth and to scatter themselves. And also, God is the one who's worthy of praise, and here they are trying to make a name for themselves. Instead of letting God reach down from heaven for them, they're trying to reach up to the clouds. So everything they're doing here is out of their own pride, rather than actually trying to follow God's commands. But the Lord came down to see the whole city, and the tower the people were building. The Lord said, "They are one people, and all of them speak the same language. That is why they can do this. Now they will be able to do anything they plan to. Come, let us go down and mix up their language. Then they will not understand each other." So the Lord scattered them from there over the whole earth, and they stopped building the city. The Lord mixed up the language of the whole world there. That's why the city was named Babel. From there, the Lord scattered them over the face of the whole earth. And that's the first thing we hear about them having multiple languages, because obviously if they couldn't understand each other, then building something like a tower would be impossible. Now, we aren't without hope. Over in the New Testament, on the day of Pentecost, God sends His Holy Spirit, and that bridges the gap of the languages again. So there is reconciliation and redemption there. But first they had to get over their pride issue. So, here is the story of Shem. It was 2 years after the flood. When Shem was 100 years old, he became the father of Arphaxad. After Arphaxad was born, Shem lived 500 years, and he had other sons and daughters. When Arphaxad had lived 35 years, he became the father of Shelah. After Shelah was born, Arphaxad lived 403 years, and he had other sons and daughters. When Shelah had lived 30 years, he became the father of Eber. After Eber was born, Shelah lived 403 years, and he had other sons and daughters. When Eber had lived 34 years, he became the father of Peleg. After Peleg was born, Eber lived 430 years, and he had other sons and daughters. Now back in chapter 10, that's where it talked about Peleg. It says here, that's because the earth was divided up in his time, referring to Peleg. So that's probably when the Tower of Babel first occurred. So after Peleg was born, Eber lived 430 years, and he had other sons and daughters. When Peleg had lived 30 years, he became the father of Reu. After Reu was born, Peleg lived 209 years, and he had other sons and daughters. If you notice, we're going from 500 years old, 403, 430, 209, now it's 207. The age keeps going down, just as God said it would go down after the flood. Life expectancy started to decrease. When Serug had lived 30 years, he became the father of Nahor. After Nahor was born, Serug lived 200 years, and he had other sons and daughters. When Nahor lived 29 years, he became the father of Terah. After Terah was born, Nahor lived 119 years, and he had other sons and daughters. Terah lived for 70 years. Then he became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Here's the story of Terah. Terah became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And Haran became the father of Lot. Haran died in Ur in Babylonia. That was the land where he had been born. Haran died while his father Terah was still alive. Abram and Nahor both got married. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai. The name of Nahor's wife was Milcah. She was the daughter of Haran. Haran was the father of Milcah and Iscah. But Sarah wasn't able to have children. Terah started out from Ur in Babylonia. He took his son Abram with him. He also took his grandson Lot. Lot was the son of Haran, and Terah took his daughter-in-law Sarah. She was the wife of his son Abram. All of them left together to go to Canaan, but when they came to Haran, they settled down. Terah lived for 205 years. He died in Haran. This is our first introduction to Sarai and Abram, and later on their names are going to be changed and they're going to become the famous Abraham and Sarah, which we read about throughout the rest of the Bible. Abraham is such a mighty man of God that he's referred to, I believe, in 21 other books of the Bible, so a significant amount. Well, that is it for Genesis chapter 11. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you guys next time.